Is it working? Hi Judy, I'm just setting things up. Can you hear me? Let's move this down. We will be starting in about 7 minutes. Wonderful, thank you, Afaf. Oh, thank you, Judy, that's very sweet. Hi, Eddie. So, I'm hiding my face right now so I can, you know, prepare everything without worrying about the camera for now. So, we'll be starting in a few minutes. So just relax, get a cup of tea, and we will begin very shortly. Thank you. Hi Eddie, let's see. Yes, this live will be recorded, so it will be uploaded onto YouTube after the live is finished. So yeah, you can watch it later, no problem. No worries. Have a wonderful evening. Hi Chia, nice to see you. I'm just hiding my face right now as I prepare some things. Just doing the final checks of the presentation videos and all of that stuff. So, just a few more minutes and then I will stop hiding. Just get a nice hot drink while you wait. Just 2 minutes. 3 minutes, I can't count. You thought I wanted to be mysterious today. I always want to be mysterious, Chia. Right, the video's okay. Photos are fine. Judy, you call me Mr. Mystery. I wish. Okay, right. Wait, did I forget my drink? Oh no, it's okay. I've got water. I really hope my internet is okay for today, because recently I've been having a few problems, but it looks okay so far. Okay, I think I can finally stop hiding my face. So I'm gonna close this and then go to my webcam. Can you all see and hear me clearly? Is everything okay? Yeah? Please let me know if you cannot hear me, and I will try to fix the problem as soon as I can. But for now, it looks okay. And welcome to today's live stream, and thank you for coming. Today we're going to be talking about, as you can see very clearly, we're going to talk about wedding traditions, okay? So, yeah, the other day, it was last Friday, I think. Yeah, exactly 1 week ago. Yeah, I went to one of my best friend's weddings, and it was absolutely amazing. Like, I've been to weddings before, but this was one of my best friends, so being the best man and, you know, really doing a lot of things, helping him get ready for the special day, taking lots of photos, it was all absolutely amazing. So yeah, I have a lot of things to share with you today, but how is everyone doing? Are you all, what was it, having a nice weekend? I mean, hopefully you can relax this weekend, but yeah. So before we begin, I'm just going to do a final check. I think everything's working. Yes, the microphone is working. Are we all ready to dive into today's presentation? So let's have a look. Oh my gosh. So let's have a look at wedding traditions, okay? So, of course, every country has a different way of doing weddings, and, you know, British traditions are a bit different to, I don't know, Indian traditions, and it also depends on your religion. You know, a Jewish wedding is a bit different to a Catholic wedding. Now, this wedding was not particularly religious. The bride and groom were not religious, but we follow a lot of these traditions at weddings. So let's have a look at some key vocabulary for today. So, let's have a look. Now, first, a bit of a warm-up for you guys. I just want you... Oops, I need to record this, sorry. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to read this, and I want you to use the correct words in the gaps, okay? So if you want to read along, please, read with me. There are many stages to a romantic relationship. First, you and your partner start as a This is where you are just and the relationship is new. But as things get more serious and you realize that you want to be together forever, one person, usually the man, might Okay? So I'm going to give you just a few seconds. Each word is different. We have the words couple, dating, and propose. Okay, so I'm just going to give you 10 seconds. Should be pretty easy for this warm-up. Okay, so 10, 9. Okay, why don't we have a look at the answers? So, the answers are nothing, because it's not working. There we go, okay? So first you start as a couple. This is where you're just dating. And then usually the man might propose, yeah? So imagine usually it's the man getting down on one knee and then holding the ring in a very romantic place, right? Maybe a beach, or I don't know, a really fancy bar or something like that. For those of you, for you married people in the live stream, where did your husband or where did you propose to your partner? Was it a very romantic place? I don't know. Maybe you can share some of your experiences. But yeah, proposing, a wonderful thing, a step before marriage. Okay, so let's have a look at the next part. Just a few more words to get ready for the vocabulary. So, if the proposal goes well, the couple now become When just dating, usually they just call each other girlfriend or boyfriend, but after getting they will call each other their something. Okay, so what do you guys think? This again should be pretty easy. I'll give you about 10 seconds. 10, 9. Okay. All right. Very good job. So the answers are: the couple now become engaged. Okay, but after getting engaged, they will call each other their fiance. Okay, often, before my friend's wedding, when my friend was introducing his wife to other people, he would say, "This is my fiance." Okay, but now they are married, they would say, "This is my wife," or "This is my husband." Or some people actually say the word partner, which it's just another way of saying your wife or husband, okay? But of course, you can use it for men or women, so it's a bit more, easier and a bit more flexible. So partner, this is my partner, okay? But yeah, so why don't we move on? Oh, quick question. The female one should be called fiance. Good question. So fiance can be for both men and women, similar to partner, okay? If you want to be more specific, this is, yeah, we would say she is going to be my wife, or he is going to be my husband, but most people just say fiance. But again, this is before you get married and after you get engaged. Okay, so there is a special timing for these words, so just be careful. Okay? Alright, so let's move on. Thank you for the questions. Now, I already used some of these words earlier, but these are the two VIPs at the wedding. Yeah, what do we call these two people? What was it? My mind just went blank, sorry. So I've given you a clue as to the words for these two special people. Okay, so I'll just give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. As always, Chia is on fire. Very well done. We have the bride and the groom. Okay, these are the two people on the wedding day. We always call them the bride and the groom. Yeah, and especially, you know, the master of ceremonies, the MC or the priest, whoever's in charge of the ceremony will often say, will the bride, no, is it the groom? Will the groom please kiss the bride? And then everybody's like, yeah, and so on, right? So bride and groom, you will hear this a lot on the wedding day, okay? And then we have a few more important guests, or rather a few important jobs, okay? So we have the women who are supporting the bride. They are called the brides. And then we have the person, the man who is supporting the groom, called the 2 words here. Okay, I'll give you another 5 seconds. Hi Elnaz, nice to see you. And Alex, thank you very much. Oh, nice to see some people who I have taught or talked to. Yes, the answers are the bridesmaid, or bridesmaids in this case, because there are 4 of them, and the best man. And what you will notice here, the bridesmaids will usually wear matching outfits. It can be any color, not white, because that's special for the bride, but in the wedding that I attended the other day, I think all of the bridesmaids were wearing a light blue dress. Yeah. For the men, you usually wear matching suits, matching ties, and matching shirts. But for all of the other guests, there's no strict, dress code. It's just that you shouldn't wear white. Any other color is fine. But of course, white is the special color for the bride and groom. Okay? But yeah. What was it? If the best men are the best men, then it means the groom is not. That's a very good point. Yeah, best men more important than the groom. There you go. I like that. Good job. So, yes. Okay, now moving on to the next thing. 2 more very important words. We have this kind of party that happens after the ceremony, and then we have that long path, the very special place where the groom and bride walk just before the wedding begins. Okay, so can anyone tell me these 2 special words? We'll give you 5 seconds. Oh, wait, let me check. Is this the right number of letters? Yes, that's right. Okay, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you're not sure, that's totally fine. The answers are the reception, which is the party that happens after the wedding. Lots of drinking, lots of eating and dancing. And then we have the aisle, okay? Aisle is not a super common word. You might think about an aisle in a supermarket. Yeah, an aisle is like a corridor or a long path. So if you're looking for something in the supermarket and you say, excuse me, where are the eggs? And the staff might tell you, oh, it's in aisle 12 over there. Yeah, so aisle, but in a wedding, it's that special white or maybe a red carpet, but that long pathway for the special bride and groom. Okay, so very good. Aisle is a difficult word to spell, isn't it? Very good. Thank you very much, Alex. Okay, so let's move on to the venue. I'm going to start showing you some special photos and videos of the wedding that I went to. I took a lot and I was preparing for this presentation even when I was at the wedding. So the venue, the place, and the interior, everything. Okay, so let's have a look. The day before the wedding. Okay, now here is our first video. Maybe you can hear the audio. If you can't, let me know. So this is outside. Unfortunately, it's always raining in the UK, so it's not the best weather, but this was the outside of the venue. Okay, you can see these like red brick buildings. Usually it's in a church, but nowadays, I don't know like the statistics, but a lot of people do have a wedding in a church, but not everyone. For example, in this case, it was just in this like special wedding venue. It's like lots of different buildings together, but it was far away from the city, in the countryside, so it was nice and quiet, lots of nature, flowers, and all of that stuff. Okay, so something like this. Very British buildings, lots of red brick. And yeah, this is quite British. Okay. Alright, like in the fairy tale. Very nice, Hannah. Yeah. But okay, so let's move on to the next thing. I'm going to show you inside the venue. So this is inside the main building. There we go. I can't remember, did I take this on the last day? This was early in the morning when not so many guests. As you can see here, this fire here, this is the fireplace, quite old-fashioned. And a nice lobby where the guests can sit down and just have a nice chat. There's a very strong wooden theme, very natural. You can see on the fireplace there are some, I think, mushrooms? I don't know if they're real mushrooms. And then where am I going next? This was the front desk. This is where you check in. Because actually, this was not just the wedding venue, but they also had hotel rooms where the guests could stay. Because usually, for the wedding, we have most of the guests arrive on the wedding day, on the day of the ceremony. But because, of course, the people who are getting married and the families, they have to prepare a lot of things. They have to check if, you know, everything is going smoothly. So usually the family of the bride and groom, they will arrive one day early. And because I was the best man, I also arrived one day early to have dinner with them and, you know, just, you know, practice speeches and so on. So that was why I also went a day early. Okay. And then where did we go next? Oh, a very nice bar, people drinking lots of alcohol. I'm not a fan of alcohol, to be honest, but there you go. And
well, I got...
There we go. And that was the nice outside garden. But unfortunately, the weather was not amazing. Yeah, it wasn't great. But there was a little bit of sunshine for about 1 hour. So it was very unfortunate. But it was really nice to look at. And then I think that was it. Yeah, the window view is very nice, isn't it? But there we go. Alright, did I have another video? So this, as I said earlier, the day before the wedding, you know, the family sit down together to have a nice meal. Yeah, remember, all of the family, you know, it's quite rare to get a chance to have all of your own family together. So the chance to have the bride and the groom's family together in one place is, you know, very rare. So for some people, this might be the first or only second time they've ever met. But it's a nice, you know, opportunity to just catch up and make small talk. So this was what happened in the event room. Okay. We had a nice dinner. And you can see here, I've done a lot of these like censored circles to hide their privacy. You can see me just not thinking about a lot. I was a bit tired after the train journey. But yeah, and then we were enjoying a nice meal. You'll see I make a lot of stupid faces here. I have a very bad habit of when people take photos, I think just doing this is very boring. So I have a bad habit of like making stupid faces. So yeah, I need to stop doing this, but so something like that. What was I eating? Can you see what I'm eating here? Let's zoom in a little bit. What do you think this is? Any idea? The dessert does look good, doesn't it? It's a nice dessert. This very British dessert is called sticky toffee pudding. Yeah, classic British dessert, and it was very nice. It was very nice. All right, so going back, let's move on. This was the starter at that dinner. Does anyone know what this is? I think this is an Italian dish, I believe. What was it? Elnaz, it was delicious. It was. And oh, good job, Hannah. Yeah, sticky toffee pudding. So this is actually... I just read the chat. Sorry, on the YouTube side. Very nice to see you, Maya. Nice to see you. So this is actually bruschetta. I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's like toasted bread with onions, tomatoes, and a Parmesan crisp. Very fancy dish. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Again, lots of people enjoying the nice dinner, and here me in the bottom left, and the groom and bride here in the bottom right. Okay, what was I eating? I was eating... Oh, I had a risotto, mushroom risotto, but most people had a steak, a nice well done, not well done, rare, medium rare steak. I think that was the most popular option, but yeah, I think steak is okay, but yeah, sometimes. And then, moving on. Ah, yes, this was the up to the hotel room after having the nice dinner. Oh, there you can see my
Well, hello there.
I should have hidden that, but it's okay. So this was up to the hotel room, and we were checking in after the dinner. Wait, were we checking in? Well, anyway, you can see very traditional, not so fancy, quite plain. Walking through the corridor. So, by the way, we got lost so many times because every corridor looks the same. So, it was so easy to get lost. But
Room number 15.
there we go. And then my good friend holding the camera for me.
It might be an absolute mess.
I think it's a bit messy. Ah, this was it the day after? Ah, it was the last day. I apologize, it's very messy, I'm sorry. You know, boys, we're always
Wow,
messy.
very clean room.
Yes, most definitely our style.
And look,
So here I'm going to explain something. I will, give control to Eric in the past, but listen to what I'm saying, and can you understand what I'm talking about? Let's just have a quick listen.
look at this. Fancy dog. Instead of putting on the normal door tag.
Sorry, it's a bit quiet. Let me turn up the volume, and then let me go back.
Definitely our
Oh, that's so loud. Sorry. Okay.
style.
And look at this. Fancy dog. Instead of putting on the normal door tags to show that you don't want them to clean your room. Yeah, this little fella. What does it say here? Says, hello, my name is Sisku. I belong to room 15. If you do not want to be disturbed, please leave me outside your door.
Yeah, it is a very good idea.
Very nice.
There you go. So, can anyone tell me, is the dog just a decoration? Is this plushie just a nice room decoration? What is it for? And why is it in the room? Can anyone tell me? There you go. But Yeah, in, what was it, the description, it said that if you don't want us to disturb, that is, come into your room, then you can put us outside. Yeah, it was kind of sad because, like, you have to put the plushie on the floor, and the floor is dirty. But with the room tags, you usually hang them on the door handle, right? So I didn't put the plushie outside, but it was interesting because each room actually had a different plushie. Yeah, like some were, you know, black dogs, brown and white dogs. So it was a really nice kind of unique way of doing the hotel. So it was quite interesting. But hi, Sophia. But yeah, there we go. Okay, moving on.
All right.
Let's move on to the most important day, the wedding day. And you can see me here. Does anyone know what I'm doing here? Can anybody give me a guess? What do you think I'm doing? And no, I am not sleeping. I got a good rest, but I'm not sleeping. Can anyone guess what I'm doing here? I'm praying. Ooh, that is a very good guess, Elnaz. We weren't in a church. I wasn't praying, and I wasn't playing the piano. Good idea, Anita. Nice to see you. Nice suit. Thank you very much. But yeah, so I'll reveal later. I'll tell you. Oh no, I'll tell you now. I was actually rehearsing my speech. I don't know if you guys saw in my moments on Hello Talk, but did I post it on Hello Talk? But anyway, I said that I was feeling very nervous before the speech because, of course, it's a very emotional speech and, you know, many people are watching. Like, when I'm teaching an English lesson, I've taught in universities, I've taught at volunteer events, I've taught in front of lots of people before, and now I'm okay. You know, I don't feel nervous, I don't get butterflies in my stomach, so I'm quite confident. But when it came to this speech, I was ready to throw up. I didn't even want breakfast because I felt a bit nervous. So here, I was just rehearsing the speech, but there we go. Okay. I look sleepy. I do look sleepy. But yes. Okay. So the dog is a good idea. Definitely, Maya. And then as you can see here, I was the best man. That is the closest person to the groom. Okay. We were friends from high school. All right. And then here, can anyone tell me what this is? Can anyone tell me what is this thing showing? Ooh, Hannah says an exclusive seat. Seat is the key word here. This is a table showing the seating arrangements, okay? And you can see here we have the top table. This is the place where the groom and, you know, the most important people sit down. And then we had London, Longleat, Loafer. You'll see that each of these tables were named after places. It depends on the wedding. Every couple, or every married couple does it differently. But my friend and his wife now chose to name the tables after places they had been to together. Yeah, these are special places they went to together. Like, for example, I think Geneva in, was it Switzerland? I can't remember, but abroad somewhere. They went on holiday together to Geneva. And on each table, they had photos of the main couple, the bride and groom, from each of these places. So like Swansea was where they met at university. So of course, you know, where they first met, very important place. Also, Swansea University, I went to Swansea University as well. So that is where I studied psychology. London, Longleat, all of these places are different cities in the UK, but Detroit, definitely the US, yeah. But every couple does it differently. Okay? And I was on the London table. All right, seating arrangements. Yeah. It's more complex than the average wedding in China. Really interesting. I want to know about the different wedding traditions in different countries, but maybe you guys can share with me later. But meditation, yeah, that's a good idea, Maya. I was like, but there we go. Sorry, the YouTube side is a bit delayed, so I might be going back sometimes. But anyway, let's move on. You can see here, this is usually the seating arrangement for the top table, okay? So we have the groom and bride in the center, of course. They're the main couple. Then we have the bride's... Wait. Interesting. Why is it the bride's mother and the groom's father? That's strange. In my friend's wedding, it was the groom and his parents, the groom's mother and father on the left side, and the bride's mother and father. I don't know why this one is switched. I think it's normal to separate them. But anyway. Okay. And then, can anyone tell me, what's this? Using your detective skills. Oh, that's a very good idea. It's not a family tree, Hannah, but that is a very good word and guess. Now, of course, not all of the guests are family. Some of them are just, you know, university friends, work friends, and so on, colleagues. So this was actually the guest book. Yeah, the guest book just shows you, it's like a memory. It shows you who attended the wedding, and in this case, it was done in a very artistic way. They asked all of the guests to print. That is, you see these little, like, how do I call it, stamp things here. All of the guests would use their pinky finger, and we would print it into the stamp thing, and then we would press our finger on this tree. And you could see here, this purple one in the middle here, it says Eric Chong, yeah, so that was me, and then all of these other names. Okay, so this was what we call the guest book, okay? But yeah, Safia, it's kind of like a memory tree, but the name of this thing is called a guest book, okay? Every wedding does it a bit differently, yeah? Some people just do a very simple, please write your name here, but other people like to make it a bit more, what you call it, special or unique. So in this case, you know, a nice fingerprint, yeah, very unique for every person. All right, good stuff. Okay, let's move on from the guest book. We have the main hall, okay? This was the place where all of the dinner and the dancing and all of the stuff after the wedding happened, yeah? Can anyone remember, what do we call the party that happens after the wedding? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you don't have time to write it, just say it. It is the reception. Very good, Elnaz. Well done. Yeah. This is the place where the reception happened. And we spent most of the day here from I think it was 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. Of course, there were other rooms as well, and I'll show you in a moment. But most people had lunch and dinner here, and then after the food, they moved the tables and, you know, they made space for people to dance and just chat. Okay. Safia says, we can't do it in Afghanistan because there might be more than 3,000 people. Oh my gosh, there is not enough space or food for that many people. This is the difficult thing, isn't it? Because choosing who to invite to the wedding. Now, it's interesting because I was speaking to my Japanese friend the other day about this, and she said that it's very common to invite work colleagues. And even if it's a smaller company, you might invite, you know, the team leader or maybe even the CEO of the company to your wedding, even if you're not very close. Now, in the UK here, you don't have to invite colleagues, but if you're close, you know, if you have a good relationship and you're friends outside of work, then yeah, it's very normal to invite colleagues, but you don't have to, right? But it seems like in Japan, of course, like the work colleagues are almost like your second family, but they feel sometimes an obligation, or they feel like they have to invite, oh, if I invite this work colleague, then I have to invite these colleagues, and so on. So it's interesting to see the like norms and the rules or the expectations for different countries. But how about your countries? Not dinner? Yeah, we do have dinner here. Isn't there a stage? There wasn't a stage, but there was a front area, and you'll see it in a moment when I show you my speech. But there's like a white curtain and a special place for the front. Okay, but there we go. All right. We invite colleagues, friends, classmates, neighbors, and relatives. Wow, so many people. Jeez, sounds like a nightmare to organize. And very well done, Maya. Good job. Reception. Okay, so we have the main hall. And then this was just a different angle. Of course, you have lots of wine glasses and, I don't know, cutlery and things like that. Yeah. A funny thing is, even as a native, well, actually, it happens in other countries, but the cutlery, often you'll have the plate and then you have like 2 knives, 2 forks and 2 spoons, and I was like, when we're having the starter, like a soup or something, I think, which spoon do I use? Do I use the outside one or the inside one? And I think one of my friends said, when you're having a fancy dinner and there are many sets of knives and forks, you start from the outside and go in. So starter, the left and right knife and fork, and then the main, the inside knife and fork or something. So outside in, I think. Don't trust me, I'm not confident. But yeah, all of these fancy dinners, they have some etiquette, and there's also a rule of how you should set your knife and fork after you have finished your food. For example, wait, can I show you? No, I'll show you later. But like, if you put your knife and fork crossed on the plate, it means that you didn't like the food. Okay, so don't do this unless you want to complain. But I think if you really enjoyed the food, I think you put the knife and fork facing left on the plate. That means it was wonderful, I think. Anyway, we'll search it later. But yeah, I want to see the video. I will show you the video of the speech in a moment. But yeah, in Downton Abbey, the tables are tastefully furnished, like in the photo. Yeah, Downton Abbey, you know, for royalty, of course, this is kind of their everyday life, right? So, interesting. All right. Yeah, it's very confusing, isn't it, Maya? But there we go. All right, let's move on to the next thing. Before the wedding began, here we have the wonderful cake, and we were just taking some silly photos. As I said before, you know, I like to make funny faces, so here we go. He was pretending to cut the cake before the ceremony, so I was like, no, stop, and so on. But anyway, okay, right. So then we have the main lunch on the day. We had this starter. I think this was goat's cheese? I actually have no idea. It was some type of cheese, and it was very nice. And I realized that in fancy dinners, or fancy meals, you know, high-class meals, they love balsamic vinegar. It's like balsamic vinegar on salad, on cheese, on anything. Like, it's everywhere. I like balsamic vinegar. I don't mind it. But I just noticed, like, every plate has balsamic vinegar. But anyway. anything becomes fancy when you get the sauce and you just go blah, 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 on the plate, you know, just some lines. Instantly, the dish becomes fancy. I don't know, you put it on a McDonald's burger and it's instantly fancy McDonald's. Yeah, very fancy Maya, isn't it? But yeah. Oh, thank you, Safia. I look nice. Thank you. Anyway, we have the main course. This was a... What was it? It was some sort of meat. I think maybe beef, lamb. And this was potato, I think. It was like a potato cake type thing. And on the top, I think it's kale. Maybe kale. But, yeah, it was delicious. Really nice. There we go. And then this was quite unique. Now, when I looked at it, I first thought this was creme brulee. Because, of course, on creme brulee, you usually have this, like, dark brown, golden, like, crispy part, right? That's where the sugar has been kind of burned. But actually, it wasn't a creme brulee. It was a lemon tart or something like that. And it was very nice. It was sour, but not too sour. Yeah. But a very nice lemon tart. Okay. Very stylishly decorated, definitely. Yeah. What's so funny, Maya? And then, are these foods for one person? That's right, exactly. So, every guest had these 3 courses. Okay, we had the starter, the main, and the dessert. And it was the same for everyone. So, yeah. I think on my table there was a very young child, and it was very sweet. The staff made, especially for her, because she was a young child, they made her, I think it was French fries and chicken nuggets. You know, very, you know, normal meal for a child. Yeah. So there we go. That was the nice meal. Hannah says only 3. So yes, for the lunch there were only 3 dishes, but in the evening they had a buffet style dinner. So while people were dancing and chatting, there was this like buffet in the corner where you could grab food anytime and just take it to your table. So there was more food in the evening. Because, yeah, that's not enough. 3 dishes? That's not enough. Okay. Elnaz, everyone likes French fries, especially kids. That's very true. Everyone does love French fries. However, I will say, as a British person, it's in my blood. I have to like chips more than French fries. If you don't know the difference between chips and French fries, chips are just thicker and they're more fluffy on the inside, but French fries are very crispy. Yeah. Fish and chips, UK. Yeah. If you call If you call French fries chips or chips French fries in the UK, people will be like, no, those are chips, or no, those are French fries. Get out of here. I'm like, no, it's just a joke, but be careful in the UK. French fries are American, and chips are British. But let's move on to the very important roles of the best man and bridesmaids, because not every country, not every culture has this kind of role. Yeah. Again, I will compare to Japan because I know more about Japan, but Japan is having more Western style weddings like this more recently. But the best man and the bridesmaids are still not a common kind of job or role, right? For Japanese weddings, even if it's a Western style wedding, everyone is a guest except for the main family, yeah? But for the best man, this is usually the closest friend of the groom, okay? In my case, there were actually 2 best men because we were both very close to the groom, but it's usually one person. That's why it says best man and not best men, okay? But it's not a strict rule. And of course, as we discussed earlier, we have the bridesmaids, yeah, usually wearing a matching color theme, and usually this is all decided before the wedding. Okay. I'm just going to quickly read some comments. What was it? Yeah, there was a lot of balsamic vinegar, Maya. And then, did all the guests have lunch and dinner? Yeah, I think most guests had lunch and dinner, exactly. Yeah, but there we go. Okay, moving on. Bridesmaids. Now, what does the best man do? Well, we have a number of jobs. You know, there's a few set jobs that most best men do, but generally it's just helping the groom, supporting them, and maybe guiding the guests. But even then, usually the hotel staff or the staff at the venue will do that. So the main part is usually the wedding speech, and I'm going to quickly show you a very small part of my speech. And as you can see here, there is the white curtain at the main stage that I was talking about earlier. Okay, so I'm going to show you. It's embarrassing, but again, it's very quiet. Let me turn it up. Blah blah blah. That face.
It could be it could be his wife that he's not allowed to talk about, but he always does.
I made a funny joke. Anyway, so I was basically talking about my relationship with the groom, and it's usually traditional to tell like an embarrassing story or a funny story about the groom. You know, maybe something stupid that they did when they were in school and things like that. Just then I was saying that the groom has a very secret job. He works for the government, and when you have this government job, you're not allowed to talk about it to the public. This is like secret information. So I was saying that I almost said his name. It doesn't matter, but I said the groom, he has this very secret government job and he's very passionate about it, and he's never allowed to talk about it. But he always talks about it. He tells everyone, I have this secret job. I'm not allowed to tell you, but I have this secret job. And that's why everybody was laughing, because he's not supposed to talk about it, but he always does. So there we go. And so on. Did I say?
Recently, he's found a new passion or interest, and when he does talk about...
And blah, blah, blah. Okay, so you can see me talking about that. Okay? Alright, let's move on. So, of course, the wedding speech is a very important duty, job of the best man, but we also have this. Let's have a quick look. Can anyone tell me what's happening here? I'll just quickly answer some questions. What was it? Sorry, let me go back to comments. It was better to use best woman for the bride's closest friend. Yeah, I don't know why. It's best man and not best woman. Like, it should match, right? That's easier to understand. Your accent is the best. Thank you. Why they use brides? That's a good question. There's probably a historical reason why they say bridesmaid, but I'm not sure. And then, what was it? How long was my speech, Eddie? It was about 5 minutes. The groom said that, how do I say it? If you can keep your speech around or under 5 minutes, that would be wonderful. That's what he told me. And in total, there were about 4 or 5 speeches. Usually, the best man, the parents of the bride and groom will give a speech. So that's usually around 5 or maybe 6 people. So about 5 minutes each. You look very happy. I was very happy. Yeah, I was very excited. I was very nervous. I was sweating when I was doing the speech. So yeah. After that, I was like, and then I just enjoyed the food and everything else. So I was very relieved after that. But yeah, it was a challenging 5 minutes, Hannah. Do you have to sign as a witness? Ah, good guess. I guess you're talking about this here. So, yes, you're close. I wasn't the witness, actually. For those of you who don't know, the witness is a person who signs like a document saying, yes, I saw person A and person B, the bride and groom, get married. Yeah, it's just a piece of like legal documentation just to prove to the government and the city hall that yes, these two people did get married officially. Okay, I wasn't the witness, I was the best man. These are different jobs, but the witness was, I think, the groom's brother. Okay, but that is another good job, important job. Here we were actually just preparing for the ceremony. Okay, now usually, what was it? There's a set timing and there's a set order for people to walk into the ceremony. Yeah, of course, before the ceremony starts, all of the guests are sat down. But for the best man, the parents, and the groom and bride, they come in and they walk down the aisle in a set order. Okay, usually it's the bride last. The bride is like the main event, they get to show off. And actually, for the morning of the ceremony, nobody sees the bride. It's only the bridesmaids who will see them as they are helping her get ready. But the bride is the last person to arrive. You know, like the final show, like the climax of the wedding. Okay? So this woman on the right here was just explaining, okay, you are going to say this, and then you will come here, and so on. She was just explaining the whole ceremony to us. Okay? But yeah, you were signed as the best man. I wasn't signed. Well, the groom chooses the best man. Okay? It's not like I didn't volunteer, but he chose me and my other friend. Okay? Alright, so moving on. We have here an interesting, can you read this on the girl's shirt? It says, God is a woman. Does anyone know where this phrase comes from? So this actually is a phrase from, is it Ariana Grande? Apparently, I don't listen to Ariana Grande, but apparently this was from the title of one of her songs or something like that. Okay? But anyway, what are we doing over here? Well, if you look over here, this woman is holding something in her hand. Okay? Oh, Hannah says God is a girl. Interesting. But yes, we were preparing. This was the day before the wedding, but we were preparing these things. Does anyone know what these things are called? These are very important for the VIPs and, you know, the main family of the bride and groom. The flower is a rose, that is correct. Yes, but depending on the person, for example, the bridesmaids usually have a matching set. The best man and the groom will have a matching set. Do the parents have a different set? I can't remember. But it's not always a rose. It can be any flower, any pretty flower, yeah? So these are actually called, did I write it here? Oh, I didn't write it. They're called button downs. No, sorry, buttonholes, because they go, do I have a button here? They go into the button and you put it through. Do I have it here? Oh, I left it downstairs, but they usually put them in the buttonhole, and it's to show this is the best man or these are the bridesmaids. So it's like a symbol, basically. Okay. Very good, Hannah. Yes, a buttonhole. Okay. Thank you, Maya. All right. Now, another important job is giving gifts to the groom. Yeah. I actually showed this to some of you before, but I was preparing a gift for the groom, and this was a special photo album. I collected all of the photos from high school until now, and I will show you this was the photo album my other friend, the other best man, actually drew a picture of us three ever since we were in school. And you can see here, this was the moment just before the wedding ceremony. We gave him this present and he started, you know, looking at the photos and becoming very emotional. He didn't cry, but he enjoyed looking at the photos. Yeah, and you can see all of our suits are the same color and we are wearing the same red roses. Okay, and you can see here the dog. Yeah, he was in the VIP suite, so maybe he had a special dog, but anyway. Okay, yeah, it was a very nice memory. There we go. All right, let's move on to one more duty, the stag do and the hen party. Does anyone know what is a stag do or a hen party? In US English, in American English, they usually say a bachelor party or a bachelorette party for the bride. Does anyone know? So, Sophie is becoming emotional too. Don't cry. If you cry, I'm gonna cry. So, the stag do is the bachelor party, the party for the groom, and the hen party is the bachelorette party for the bride. And these parties happen before the wedding. It can be like 1 week or 1 month before the wedding, but it's just like a time when all of the guys can go and do something fun. Some people go to Las Vegas, they go to a different country if they have a lot of money, and they'll do crazy things. If you've ever seen the famous movie The Hangover, that is about a crazy stag do that just went completely wrong. It was, you know, went terribly. And the hen party is like a girls' party where they might go, you know, go to a nice restaurant, have a nice, you know, some wine and just enjoy some time together. Okay? So I'm going to quickly show you. Yeah, just with their friends, Safia, exactly. Okay. So here, one of the things we did was bowling, and you can see me here. A bit embarrassing, but warming up my shoulder. And then I nearly fell over. Okay, so I'm not usually bad at bowling, but the reason why I went into the gutter was because I really like spinning the ball. I don't like going straight. That's boring. I like to spin it because it's more, you know, dramatic seeing it go like that. So I tried to spin it, but in the end, I span it too much and I just went straight into the gutter. So, and then goodbye. I got 1 pin, but there we go. So, yeah, that was the bowling, and that was the first event of the weekend in London. And we did many things. Another thing was, what else did we do? Oh, we went to this like VR virtual reality thing where we put on headsets and we played this like game in like an open space. But this thing you can see here, what do you think this is? So you can see this robot arm is holding a cup, right? And if you look up here, holy moly, there are so many different ingredients for drinks and cocktails. Yeah, you can see here, all of this was gaming themed. So this one's zombie apocalypse, there's lime juice, coconut syrup, rum, orange, and so on. So let me quickly show you. So we have all of these amazing syrups, alcohols. Whoa! Yeah, those are the ingredients. It's really cool. I don't know how they do it, but it's like a robot bartender. there's a lot of ingredients. Sorry, I should make it bigger. And then shake, shake, shake. And then pour into the cup. Very nice. Slowly, carefully, and there we go. And the very interesting thing was that you order your drink through the app. You can order it anywhere inside the building, and then you come here and you can watch the robot arm making your drink. And there were many people taking videos, including us. Yeah, it was quite nice. Yeah, I don't normally drink cocktails, but yeah, it was just like, what was this? It was like fruit juice, like orange, lime. It was nice. So there you go. Okay. But how much was the cocktail? I think it was quite expensive, but it's not so much more expensive than paying a bartender to make your cocktails. So it was a nice new experience. So there you go. But anyway, moving on to the hotel. Now, we stayed in a very expensive hotel. Well, actually, it wasn't as expensive as usual. It was on a discount, and this was a very famous street in London where all of the buildings looked like this. You know, only rich politicians live in these buildings. But for some reason, this one was quite cheap. Well, actually, there is a good reason, but I'll tell you in a moment. This was just, you know, the outside of the hotel. And I don't know if this is why it was so cheap, but there was something very interesting about the room, and I'm going to show why it was so unique, okay? One quick comment. Some parts I have blacked out for my friend's privacy. I don't want to show their face. So that's why it's disappearing, okay? So.
Because this is a once in a lifetime room. Look at this. This looks like a very normal, nice bedroom, except there's a window in the middle of the room. Look at this. Look at this. Look, there's no ceiling wall. Oh my. Other than that, it's your typical hotel bedroom. What the?
Anyway, I have to keep it, you know, PG-13. I shouldn't say bad words, but you can imagine what I said when I was so surprised. And I'll show you another picture of this room. You can see here, this was when we first moved in, and we were so surprised. This is just one room, right? There were 3 single beds and 1 double bed. And of course, the groom, our best friend, had the larger bedroom, but it was a room with half a wall. Like the top, you can see here that there was no ceiling wall, so there's no privacy, and the window was clear, so we can watch him sleep if we want to. Have you ever seen those hotel rooms where there's a shower or a toilet, but the wall is just glass, or there's a window into the toilet, so that when you're doing your business, when you're going number 1 or number 2 or having a shower, anyone can watch you, like anyone in the hotel room. It's just like, why? So this was why we were so confused, and we were laughing a lot. And the funny thing was, my friend is an interior designer, and he works for a very like 5-star hotel. So when he saw this, he was like, huh? What? Why? Like, and he was getting angry as well. He was like, what is this? I sounded angry. He was even angry. He was like, I don't understand. And as an interior designer, he was just going nuts. So it was very funny. But there we go. Anyway, I just want to quickly read the comments. Robot bartender, yeah, definitely. So yes, normally half wall in the toilet. What do you mean, Hannah? What do you mean there's a half wall in the toilet? Does that mean you can like look at someone going to the toilet? That's weird. But anyway, thank you, Elnaz. It's very sweet. Yeah, it was an unforgettable experience. But the funny thing was, I think the hotel room was probably the most memorable part of the stag do, even more than the robot bartender. But it was just very funny. But there you go. Oh, no worries, Elnaz. If you want, by the way, I'll quickly post the YouTube live stream link. So if you run out of time in Hello Talk, you can quickly switch to the YouTube side and continue watching. Okay. Let me just quickly. Let me pin the comment. Okay, there we go. All right, let's continue. So, yeah, we were going nuts. We were thinking, this is absolutely crazy. And this was the groom taking a picture of me from the inside of the room. And he was getting ready for bed. You know, like all of us, we play on our phones just before we go to bed. And I was telling him that you should close the window, because if you don't, I'm gonna get you while you're sleeping, and I'm gonna some people sleep with their feet outside of the blanket if it's too hot. I'm gonna grab your feet like some serial killer or something. And he was like, ugh. And when he was trying to go to sleep, I was looking at him, trying to scare him like through the window. So it was very funny. But anyway, so there we go. And before we left, we were like children, and we started building some wall of pillows. I don't know. We were being stupid, but anyway. And then for dinner, we had a very nice meal. Again, I like to make these funny faces. Can anyone tell me what kind of meal we were having? A very traditional Asian style meal. Yeah? Can anyone tell me what is this kind of meal? It has a very special name. People from China will know this very well. Yes, it is definitely hot pot, Hannah. Very good. One of my favorite types of meals. You know, it's very, it's very communal. You can share the foods, and you can, you can just chat and wait while the food is cooking. Because, you know, when you eat normal food, like you have a main dish, everybody's just eating, and it's like quiet, right? But with a hot pot, you get a bit of food, and then while you're waiting for the next food to cook, you just have a quick chat. So it's like talk, eat, talk, eat. So it's a bit more like social, and it's nice to cook your own food. So there we go. But yeah, I'm a big fan of hot pot. I really like the spicy hot pot. But I think a lot of Chinese and Asian people like spicy hot pots. But Maya says they're reducing personnel expenses. That's a good point, Maya. Good point. And I see Hannah says it seems too hot. No, I was what was it? That was it. My friend said you have to cook the meat well done. And like a steak, I said, no, it doesn't have to be well done, like just a bit. Like you want it to be a bit chewy, right? If it's well done, it's too dry and tough. So I was saying to the camera, look at this guy, he is nuts. Well done steak, like, ugh, gross. And that's why I was making that face. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, Michael, I am so hungry right now. Anyway. Let's have a look at a wedding superstition, okay? Superstitions, things that we believe if you do this, if you do A, then B will happen, usually good or bad luck, okay? Does anyone know any wedding superstitions? Can anyone tell me? Maybe in your country, or just some general wedding superstitions. Any ideas? I'll give you 10 seconds, though maybe it's not enough time for you to write. But one wedding superstition I want to share with you guys is this. Can anyone tell me what is happening here and why? It's a bit strange, isn't it? So we have the bride and the groom. Very good, Hannah. They can't see each other. And rather, they are choosing not to see each other. They are avoiding each other. In other words, you can't meet or you can't see each other 24 hours before the wedding. Okay? And this is why the night before the wedding, they sleep. The bride and groom will sleep in different rooms. Okay? But on the day of the wedding, they sleep in the same room. It's their first night as wife and husband, and they will have a special VIP suite for the bride and groom. Okay? But question is, why? Why is it tradition not to see each other 24 hours before the wedding? Yeah. As I said earlier, the morning of the wedding ceremony, the bride will not appear until they walk down the aisle, until the last moment. Yeah. But why? Why keep the bride a secret? You know, why does it have to be so difficult, right? Because it's difficult, you know, avoiding everyone and staying in your room all morning. So why do we do that? In the old time, couples have not seen each other. That's right, interesting. Is that for China as well? But like, yeah, why do we do this? Well, there are actually, to show the groom's patience. That's a good idea, Hannah. That's a good idea. It might be, that might be one reason. But actually, one reason is just because it makes the moment more special. Okay? So, imagine you are getting married. And of course, when the bride does their hair, the makeup and everything, they look completely different to, you know, their normal everyday life, right? They look amazing, even more amazing on the wedding day. And just for 24 hours, you're thinking, wow, I'm getting married tomorrow. And then in your mind, you're thinking, I wonder what she looks like. Because often the groom never even sees the dress until the day of the wedding. So it's like all morning, you know, the groom is busy talking to guests, but in the back of their head, they're always thinking, I wonder what she looks like. Like, she's getting ready right now. And all of this, like, emotion is, like, slowly building up. And I will tell you, when the groom walks down the aisle and they have like 1 minute to wait for the bride, it's just like silence. And it's just, you see the groom at the front just like this, just like looking around, and you'll see they're very nervous. Yeah, this is the climax, this is the moment. And so I believe that one reason is to build up to this special moment. Okay? And yeah, a lot of people cry. Hey, I cry. Jeez, I was ready to cry. But actually, there is one more theory or possible reason. And this is actually related to political or arranged marriages. Okay? Nowadays, people usually often get married for love. Right? Because they want to be together, because they love each other. But marriages are not always, you know, for love. Especially when it comes to royalty. Royalty is, you know, very well known for being difficult when it comes to marriages, yeah. Right now in the UK, Prince Harry has married Meghan. Wait, did they marry? Yeah, wait, did they marry? Oh my gosh. I'll be honest, I do not really care about the royal family, so my knowledge is very bad. But Harry and Meghan, you know, Meghan Markle was an American actress. But no, she's from South Africa, I think. Something like that. And because she is not British and because she is not royalty, if Harry wants to marry her, you know, I think Harry has to leave the royal family. But anyway, these political or arranged marriages were very different. Okay? Now, the interesting thing about many of these political or arranged marriages is that often the bride and groom have never met face to face. They've never even seen each other, you know, in person until the day of the wedding. Okay? So imagine that. Getting married to somebody but not even knowing what they look like. It's kind of crazy, right? But this happened, you know, in the past. So it's quite sad. But one reason why they, how do I say it? They didn't let the groom and bride meet in these political or arranged marriages is to stop people from running away, right? Because if you, let's say you let the bride and groom meet months before the wedding, and they meet and they say, ooh, I'm actually not so attracted to this person, which is okay, right? If they don't, if they're not attracted to each other, that's fine. But yeah, they were worried. Of course, the parents want them to marry for political reasons, and they just want the fame or the status of the marriage. So they would say, okay, do not let them meet, because if they do meet, they might not like each other. Maybe they will run away. So this was the practical and kind of sad reason, but this is not so common nowadays. Okay? Anyway, let me quickly read some of the comments. Yeah, it is a very auspicious day, definitely, Maya. And what was it? Only reveal till the last moment, definitely, exactly. Yeah. Are there flower girls at the wedding? There are, definitely. But yeah, it's quite a sad reason, isn't it? But let's move on to a few wedding idioms, okay? The first one, tie the knot. Tie the knot. If two people tie the knot, what does that mean? Yeah, we have tie, like two strings, for example, you tie your shoelace. But what does it mean if two people tie the knot? Can anyone tell me? 3, 2, 1. We have a nice answer from Ellie. Getting married? It is, indeed. Getting married. Very well done, Ellie and Hannah. Yeah? So it means to get married, not to get engaged, okay? So just be careful here. It means to get married, yeah? Getting engaged is the step before getting married, yeah? My friend and his wife tied the knot last week, a week ago on Friday, yeah? That's interesting. But the next one, we have the honeymoon phase, or the honeymoon period. So many of you might know the honeymoon is a trip, a nice vacation that happens after the wedding. Yeah, the lucky couple get some private time together, just the two of them, to, I don't know, go to Hawaii or like, well, any wonderful place. Just some private time together. Yeah, exactly, Hannah. Well done. But what does the honeymoon phase, what does the honeymoon period mean? This is quite a high level phrase. So I'm going to show you the answer. The honeymoon phase, or period, is the beginning of something new where everything is exciting. Now, of course, it usually talks about the marriage, you know, the first few weeks, the first few months of being married. But it can also talk about, I don't know, if you move to a new country. Yeah, actually soon I will be moving to a new country very soon. Maybe 1 or 2 years, but the first few weeks are magical. Like everything's new, everything's exciting. And this is the honeymoon period, or the honeymoon phase. But usually after this first time, after the first few weeks or months, you know, things become normal. Things become less special. Okay? This is the honeymoon phase, or period. Okay? Alright. So, the final thing for today is the last name debate. This has become quite a wide, how do I say it, topic of discussion. It's quite controversial, and it really depends on the family, the country, and the culture. But how many people do you think take their partner's last name? Is it usually the woman who takes the man's family or last name? Or is it usually the man taking the woman's last name? Which one? All in the past now? What do you mean by that? But yeah, so usually I think most of you can probably guess that it's traditional in many countries for the woman to take the man's name. In the UK, from a small study of 2,894 people, 86% of women took the husband's name. Yeah, and in America, you'll find something quite similar. Yeah, around 79%. Now, 2,400, it's not a big sample size, but it is quite a few. Sorry, let me go back here. Why is it repeating? And actually, 4%, you can see this white part here, 4% of women chose to, I think, share the family name. So it's something like the man would add the woman's family name into their middle name or something like that. I couldn't find an example, but they kind of share the family name. But this is still quite rare, okay? So, but yeah. But however, there is one country that is quite unique, and if you know about me, you can probably already guess. I'm going to talk about Japan. In a very large study of 504,930 people, 95% of women took their husband's name. And 5%, I can't remember, they didn't decide or they shared the family name or something like that. Okay? And interestingly, Japan is the only country in the world that requires by law married couples to use the same name. Yeah. If you do not have the same name as a married couple, many institutions, many services, the government will not consider or recognize you as a married couple. And it is very difficult to sign up for services, buy a home, and, you know, do a lot of legal documents if your last names are different, okay? But in Japan, it's almost always the woman that takes the husband's last name, okay? And this is partly because of the legal requirement, okay? Everyone in Japan, according to this data, will have the same surname by 2531. unless laws are changed to allow married couples to have different names, according to a new study. That's kind of crazy, isn't it? Imagine a country where everyone has the same last name. That would be a nightmare, right? And this is why in some countries where certain family names are very common, like in China, Li, Chan, in Malaysia, my second name, Chong, is very common. There's so many. There are a lot of Eric Chongs. If you just Google it, there are a lot. So what was it? Chong, Li, Chan, Wei, or something like that. Yeah, I think Li is common in Korea as well. But in Japan, because of this unique law, if nothing changes and if the trend continues, everyone will have the same last name. And the most common last name that Japanese people have is the name Sato. Okay, I don't know if this is the correct kanji for this name, but it is actually the most common name for Japanese people, and 1.5% of the population of Japan have this second name. Okay, but it is very interesting. Quite sad though. Let's have a look. I thought that women in the new era will not take their husband's name. That would be nice. That would be the ideal situation, right? Because of course, everybody should have the right to keep their name. But unfortunately, the world, in terms of gender equality, in terms of like legal rights and things like that, it's not exactly equal for both men and women. And traditionally, most societies are what we call patriarchal society, meaning it's focused on the man, right? In some Asian societies, women should be the housewife. And I was watching a Korean drama the other day that talked about, what was it? If somebody has to quit their job, it should be the woman because they need to take care of the baby. But then if the woman divorces the man, then they're at a huge disadvantage, right? Because they've quit their job, they have no money, they have less money than the man, and it's just a lot more risk for the woman, which is a huge problem that we need to discuss and fix, right? But anyway, I won't talk about that now. But yeah, we don't need to do that in China. That's good. However, the younger generation usually takes the father's last name. Oh, I see. Interesting. I've heard about that. Yeah, it's very common for the children to be named after the grandparents or something like that. But yeah, okay, great. Thank you very much. So, Sato. And you can see here, if this continues, if this trend continues in Japan, everyone by 2531 will have the same surname. Okay? But they kind of erase the Japanese woman's individual identity. Yeah, that's true. It's kind of crazy, isn't it? Now, for the last thing I want to share today, I just want to quickly share, it's a sad story, but it's quite important to discuss. Now, of course, for privacy reasons, I will not say the name, but one of my friends I talked to recently about marriage, they told me a very sad story. One of their friends, they attended a wedding, and it was a very wonderful day, very happy, lots of, how do I say it? Lots of friends and family coming together. But actually, the sad thing was that at that wedding, I'm going to put this here, the groom's family didn't come. The parents, the grandparents, they chose not to attend. Now, why? Of all the people at the wedding, the parents and the family should be the first and the most important people to come and celebrate, right? Well, they actually didn't come because they disagreed with the choice of the bride and groom. The bride didn't want to take the groom's last name. Yeah, they didn't want to accept the family name. And, of course, the groom was okay with this. He is only interested in his wife's happiness, which is, normal, right? But the groom's parents thought, huh? And this was a Japanese family. They were saying, they're both Japanese, both sides, but they said, it's traditional, right? Why don't you want to take our name, right? Why do you want to change tradition? And you can imagine they got very angry and they decided to not attend the wedding, which is super sad, right? And it makes me think, like, I personally do not understand why he got so angry. Like, I know tradition and culture is important, but I don't understand why he is so stubborn or insistent on forcing the bride to take their family name. Maybe it's something to do with status, like maybe they have a lot of pride in their family name, and by refusing the name, it's like, oh, I don't respect your family, or something like that. This is my guess. I have no idea. But I don't want to judge them because I don't know them. It's not my right to say, hey, that's stupid, because, I don't know the situation. But personally, I just think it's very sad that to have such an argument and to not attend your own, son's wedding because you don't agree with something as trivial or small as accepting a family name. Now, I say trivial or small. Family names are important. It's a part of who we are. It's a part of our identity, and many people are very prideful about their names. But at the end of the day, I think the most important thing is that the married couple are happy. And I think it's their choice. It's not the parents' choice. Because, if the parents control their children's choices, such as the name, when do the children get any freedom to do anything? It makes no sense to me. But anyway. But, yeah. Interesting. Maya, one of our viewers from Japan, also mentions that 3 of her friends have the same situation. So, there you go. It does happen, unfortunately. Yeah, it's quite sad, isn't it? But hopefully, the younger generation and the current generation who don't agree with this, hopefully they will not continue this tradition in the future. Well, that's my opinion, anyway. So, what was it? I'm hungry after learning from you. Yeah, the bride is kind of being bullied, I agree. I think, it's okay not to agree with it, but I don't think it's your choice, and, not going to the wedding, that's too far, right? But there you go. Happy wife, happy life. That's interesting. Yeah, happy wife, happy life. That is a common phrase. But anyway. Okay, right. Thank you very much. So, let's move on to a final review quiz. Before we finish for today, let's check how much you remember of today's lesson. And hi, Jenny. Welcome to the stream. So, number 1. What is an idiom that means to get married? For example, last week, my friends... 3 words. Any ideas? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the answer is It is. Tie the knot. Very well done. Good job. And then, moving on to number 2. What was it? So, in his friend's wedding, Eric was... What was I? What was my job? Giving the speech, helping the groom, I don't know, supporting him, making the present, organising the stag do. I was 3, 2, 1, the best man. Yeah, this is the closest friend of the groom, the person who supports them. Okay? Very good. All right. Number 3. The beginning of something new and exciting, for example, a relationship, is often called... Okay. 3, 2, 1. I think Hannah is on fire. I feel like Hannah's cheating. She's too fast. No, very good job. Well done. So this is called the honeymoon phase. Yeah. For example, like a common way of using this phrase is when you see your friend who starts to date this girl and he says, oh, she's just like perfect, like she's so cute and like everything she does is just like wonderful. I really want to marry this girl. And maybe you don't like the girl, or you want him to be careful because, you know, it's just like the first week. You want to say, yeah, be careful, don't rush things. You might say, dude, chill out, you know, you're in the honeymoon period right now. You can't think logically. Wait until you know her for a long time, and then maybe you can propose or something like that. Yeah, so that's how we might use this phrase, the honeymoon period. Okay. Elnaz has moved to YouTube. Nice to see you. But there we go. Okay. Right. Oh, Hannah, very, very nice words. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. But, okay. So, number 4. Which one of these is not one of the best man's jobs? A. Preparing a stag do, a party for the groom. B. Carrying the ring at the ceremony. C. Giving a speech at the wedding reception. Or D. Helping the groom on the wedding day. Okay, so any ideas? A, B, C, or D? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It is actually part B. Carrying the ring at the ceremony. Okay? The best man does have many important jobs, but carrying the ring is not one of them. The special name for the person who carries the ring is called the ring bearer. Okay? You can see this very cute child. Usually, it's very cute. You can see here, it says ring security. Maybe a locked box with a passcode or something like that. But the ring bearer, again, depending on the couple, it could be... In this wedding, my friend's wedding, it was the groom's sister who was the ring bearer. Sometimes people will ask like dogs or animals to be the ring bearer because it's very cute, but I feel like that's quite dangerous, isn't it? What if the dog swallows the ring or eats the ring? Like, that would be terrible, right? I guess you just have to wait for the dog to poop out the ring, but then you don't want to wear a poop-covered ring. Anyway, I think young children are commonly chosen to be the ring bearers. But there you go. Interesting. So, I think that is it for today. Thank you all very much for, coming to learn about British weddings and weddings in general. As usual, you can follow me on social media. I post moments, not just on Hello Talk, but on YouTube and other places. And you can find me at these places. Okay, thank you very much. And interesting, I just want to quickly talk about one thing that Maya said in the YouTube side of things. She said men in their 70s in Japan are generally inflexible, arrogant, and have high pride. It's incomprehensible. And then Mio, another Japanese person, one of my wonderful students, also agrees with this. And yeah, I don't know if it's just Japan though. I do think that generally the older generation can be a bit more stubborn and inflexible. And this isn't just with traditions and things like that, but because I believe as we grow with age, we grow with more experience. And many people think that just getting older and being alive longer and having more experience means that you know more or that you know better, right? But as you know, some people will do the same job for many years, but just because you've done the same job for many years, it doesn't always mean that you are very good at that job, right? I think anyone can imagine when you first start something new. It could be studying a language, could be, doing a new job, or it could be moving to a new place or something. The beginning is always the time when we learn the most, where we improve the most. Yeah, this is the nice thing about being a beginner. Every day you're learning new things. Every day you're like improving very quickly. But you do reach a ceiling or a plateau where every day you're doing the same thing. You know how to do your job and things like this, and you stop growing, right? For me, I would personally trust if I had to ask for advice on, a teacher, like I want to get advice. What's the best way to teach a class of university students? I would trust a teacher who was taught 10 years in university, 10 years in high school, 10 years abroad, more than someone who was taught 30 years in university. Because I believe that people who have had a wide range of experiences can have a more unique or a more, how do I say it? They have a more well-rounded viewpoint. That's not to say that the 30-year university professor is bad. Well, actually, it's probably best just to ask both of their opinions and maybe compare. But more experience, I think, is not always better. And that's, I think, a problem with the older generation. They believe that they just know more or that they're better. So, yeah, it's a bit of a problem. But there we go. Okay. Anyway, when I listen to you, I feel my pronunciation is improving. No, that's okay. Thank you. But yeah, I hope this is all very useful to you. What was it? I'm going to quickly look at the comments. A wedding provides so many positions. Yeah, there are a lot of jobs and roles at the wedding, but it's nice, right? Being able to help your family and not just be a guest, but you want to support them, because organizing the wedding is a nightmare. It's like months of planning, inviting the guests, preparing all of the cards and the invitations. So as family, it's nice to help the couple because they're probably very stressed. You want them to relax, right? But there we go. Okay. So, what was it? Radar wants me to speak quickly at my normal speed. I'll be honest. Sometimes I slow down, but sometimes I speed up. So just to make sure I'm helping everyone, because again, Some people are beginners, some people are intermediate. So I'm trying to match the middle to help the most people. Okay. Yeah. What was it? So yeah, namaste, Swati, wonderful. Maya asking a question. Who would you like to marry? Do you even want to get married? I've heard marriage can be full of difficulties. Maybe not getting married is a better way to be happy. That's a very good question. I personally would like to get married. For me, the problem is money, because I'm a very sociable person, and if I imagine right now, I would want to invite maybe like more than 100 people. Yeah, I know it's not realistic. Maybe in Indian or Afghanistan weddings, you might have more than 100, but in the UK, I think the average number of guests is probably 60, 70, or something like that. And I want to invite everyone, right? Because I just want to see my friends, and I want to, help them have a nice time, give them a nice dinner and things like that. But yeah, you need a lot of money for the venue, and more guests means more money you have to spend, and teachers don't earn the most money. So unfortunately, that would be my main concern. Yeah, I do definitely want to get married, but at the same time, I don't think it's necessary. Yeah. For me, the most important thing is what my partner wants to do. If they don't want to get married, we don't get married. If they do, that's wonderful. So yeah. But I'm a kind person. I'm not sure about that, Elnaz. Sometimes I can be quite selfish, but everyone needs to be selfish sometimes, right? But yeah, it's very difficult, marriage. Just being in a relationship is difficult. I say that. I haven't had so many girlfriends, so I can't say I have much experience, but just from listening to stories of friends and things like that, I can imagine it's quite difficult. Love, romance, and just human relationships with friends even is difficult. So it's just a part of life, isn't it? But yeah. Swati says, yes, the single life is the best. Wow. Nowadays, it is too much to ask that a person be good and loyal. Yeah, there are a lot of people in this world, good and bad, probably more bad than good. I'm quite a pessimistic person. I generally think that people are selfish, so I'm quite pessimistic. No, sorry, the word is cynical. Cynical is the word. Cynical means that you believe most people are like selfish or have like hidden ulterior motives. Pessimistic just means you're negative about most things, so do be careful with those two words. If you're curious, I'm drinking Chinese tea. If you go to a Chinese restaurant in the UK, you will normally have this kind of tea. Very fancy. But anyway, sorry, what was I saying? Yeah, I feel like marriage is... there's a lot of things to think about. Do you want children? Do you want to live together? Do you want to sleep in the same bed? Right? Like, I imagine if your partner snores, for example, like, I wonder how many couples sleep together even if they snore, or how many actually choose to sleep in separate rooms. I guess it depends on your house and if you have separate rooms, because not everyone is lucky enough to have so many bedrooms in their house. But yeah, I wonder. I thought, oh, I'm okay, I don't snore, so I never have to worry about this. But the other day, my friend came to stay at my place. And we slept in the same room. And he said, Eric, you know, you don't snore, but you talk a lot in your sleep. And I was like, really? What? He said, actually, no, you don't talk. You make sounds. And I was like, what sounds? And then he gave me a demonstration. This is what I do in my sleep. So, like, I guess I'm having a nightmare, but the interesting thing is I don't remember. Sometimes I do, but most of the time I don't. And when I wake up, I feel normal. I'm just like, yeah, just another day, just another morning. But my friend said, yeah, like, are you okay? Did you have some spicy food last night? Because apparently, I don't know if this is an Asian thing, but in Asia they often say that some chili peppers or some spicy food can actually make you have more dreams or more nightmares or something like that. So often they will say, oh, are you okay? Like, you were shouting a lot last night. Did you eat a spicy chili pepper for dinner yesterday? Or something like that, so. But yeah. Elna says, be single and live like a queen. Interesting. Yeah. Being in a relationship is a double-edged sword, right? It's great because you have that special person who you can share everything with. But if you don't agree, and if you don't, you know, if you have problems in your relationship, then it can be the most stressful thing. It's either the best or the worst thing. Yeah. It's hit or miss, I guess. But there we go. A lot of people saying the single life is best. Oh. And then, what was it? Hi, August. Nice to see you. It's so sorry. We're almost done for today, unfortunately. What do you need to imitate the British accent? You just need to talk to a lot of British people and just... there's no set rule. Just listen to the BBC, the British news programs, and then maybe do some shadowing with some British podcasts, especially if there's a transcript. Or in the future, in addition to these lesson live streams where I choose a topic, I'm going to do a few reading live streams where I will read something out loud and then you guys can follow along with me. So I will show the words. Maybe we will choose a book or something like that, an article, and then I will focus on pronunciation and we can read it together and do a bit of practice. Yeah, shadowing. Okay. But if you want a beautiful American accent, then unfortunately I can't help you. But if you want something British, for example, the word can't. Yeah. In America, they say can't. But in the UK, we say can't. Okay? I personally like the British version more, not just because I'm British, but because... even with natives, the word can and can't, especially in loud places, noisy places like bars or like a nightclub, it can be very hard to hear the final T, right? Because can and can't, the difference is mainly the T at the end. But especially when speaking quickly, sometimes we just remove the T. We skip the last letter and we say, yeah, I can't do that. I can't do that. Instead of, I can't do that. Yeah. And so the easy way to tell the difference, if you can't hear the final T, is to listen to the A in British English, which is can, can't. Okay, so it's much easier to hear the difference. Yeah, positive or negative, can, can't. But in American English, if you can't hear the final T, you don't know. You have to guess based on the situation. Can, can't, can't. It's a bit more difficult. So, anyway, there we go. So, what was it? Going back to YouTube. What do you think about the marriage age? Ooh. What is the marriage? In the UK, it's 18. Same as drinking alcohol. I know in some countries it's 20. I'll be honest. I think age is just a number. Okay. What I mean by this is that you can have 18-year-olds who are very smart and mature. You can also have like 25, 28-year-olds who act like children and should not be parents. Like, there are some adults who are old, but they think like a child, in my opinion. So, but the problem is you can't measure with a test or a number how mature someone is. So it's difficult, but yeah, I guess 18 is right. I mean, I'm not an expert, but what do you guys think? Do you think 18 is a good number for getting married, or the legal age to get married? Which age is the best age? I like your hairstyle. Oh, thank you very much. I did my hair a little bit, but I don't know anything about fashion and things like that. Is it better if I do this? Maybe one day. Oh! Anyway, whatever. When I was talking about snoring, Maya says, if you kick, the snoring stops. Do you kick your husband, Maya? Oh my gosh. There you go. Hi Jeff, how's it going? I'm sorry, the stream is almost finished. You've pretty much missed it. But don't worry, after I finish the stream, you can watch the recording on YouTube. Okay? There we go. Okay. Bawa says, are you a blogger? No, I'm not a blogger, but recently I have been writing more articles, language advice, about weddings and things like this on YouTube. On Hello Talk and YouTube. So, one thing I will say, if you're interested in reading longer posts about English, because I realized recently, I tried to publish an article about weddings and the traditions and my experiences on YouTube and Hello Talk, but actually there is a character or a word limit on these platforms. So actually, if you want to read like something more detailed and, more pictures, then actually you can't see it on these platforms. I have to cut out half. So if you have Microsoft Teams, if you're interested, you don't have to, but there's no limit on Microsoft Teams, so I publish my full articles and all of my contents onto this platform. So if you're interested in joining, you can see it here. Let me quickly show you. Bam! Here we go. So you can see here I have Eric English, and what was it? I posted what really happens in a British wedding, my experiences and some pictures. So if you're interested, you can find more updates and extra, English language stuff. For example, some of the things I post on Hello Talk, language advice, and things like this, you can find it here. So if you are interested, I'm going to quickly copy the link, and you can find it here. You can also send me comments and messages in this place. Okay? Oh, actually, sorry, I should copy this link. Please use the second link, not the first one. Yeah? And things like that, okay? But anyway, I think that is mostly it. Oh, I keep pressing the wrong button. Does anyone have any questions for today? If there are no questions, I'm going to, have lunch, because after thinking about that hot pot that I showed you guys, I am starving. I'm starving. I could eat a horse. I'm so hungry. But anyway, how was the speed dating on Zoom? That was a good question, August. Yeah, unfortunately, no one... well, there were a few people, like 2 or 3, who were interested, but I think, surprisingly, not so many people want to try this kind of, like, speed dating, or rather, speed language exchange event. Maybe just many people are a bit worried, or not so... how do I say it? People are a bit shy about talking to many people, so maybe that's why. But if maybe more people are interested in the future, then I'll try and do it again. And then, because, you know, this will be a really good event where people can practice their English speaking for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, yeah? So please, if you're interested, do send me a message. And if enough people sign up, I will do the event, okay? But anyway, next time I will try to join. Yeah, that would be nice, August, yeah. And even if it's just 2 or 3 people, then maybe next time we'll just do the 2 or 3 of us and we'll chat together one-on-one, and then we'll have a discussion about many things. So, okay. So, final updates before I finish for today. Next week, the live stream will be something a bit special. Next week's topic is going to be about school. And the reason is, I mentioned the wedding today. The groom, one of my best friends, and my other friend, the other best man, will be coming to visit me on the weekend, because I will be leaving the UK to move to a different country, okay? I guess I can tell everyone here, but I'm going to be moving to Japan to work and continue, live streaming, doing YouTube videos and teaching online. But I'm just really sick of staying in the UK, and I'm going to be living in the middle of Tokyo. I'm going to be going to events, and sometimes people, I'm going to volunteer at a few universities, as a teacher and things like that. I'm going to, do a lot of stuff. So I will be going to Japan in 1 month. And before then, my friends will be coming to visit. So next week, I know that a lot of people want to hear conversations between natives, right? Usually on Hello Talk and many of these live streams, it's usually one native speaker and maybe, some non-native guests, which is great, changing culture, exchanging culture and sharing stories. But I know a lot of people like listening to a group of native speakers and trying to, follow the conversation, because group conversations can be quite difficult, right? And of course, great, maybe my voice is quite easy to listen to sometimes, but you want to listen to real English, right? So, next weekend on Saturday, I forgot what day, but 4th, 3rd of April, my friends, hopefully, I need to ask them, but I think they will be happy, I'm going to interview them. We're going to have, in this background, I'm going to set a table, and we will have the both of us talking together, and we'll be talking about our school days, and you guys can ask them and me any questions, and we'll kind of have a podcast kind of setup where we'll do an interview with these 2 friends. You can learn about them and ask them questions about anything, the UK, our school, and things like that. And I'll also show you a few photos and videos I will have to search of my high school days, where you can see, oh, baby Eric. Well, not baby, I was a teenager, but hopefully I can find some old videos of my time in high school. Okay, and we're going to talk about schools. My school was quite interesting because it was a bit like Harry Potter. We were, I won't say too much, but when we entered the school, we were separated into houses. And depending on your house, you had a different color tie. Yeah, and there were lots of competitions, music competitions, sports competitions, and we always competed in our houses. So we had like inter-house competitions, like, you know, Gryffindor, Slytherin, Hufflepuff, and so on. So next week we're going to talk about schools, and that will be on the Friday, same as usual. But on Saturday we're going to have an interview. Maybe I'll prepare some games, and you can ask some questions and listen to a group of natives speak together. Okay? All right. Let me quickly read the comments. I see. I see. Maya says, not a husband, but it kicks her boyfriend. That's very funny. Definitely El Naz. Yeah, maybe because in the next month I will be quite busy with getting ready to move to Japan. After I move to Japan and get ready, I'm going to start organizing the weekly, you know, speed language exchange events. So please do keep an eye out for that. Right, let me quickly read the comments. No worries, I have access to YouTube. Wonderful, Jeff. And then I can see 2 Erics. Oh, Alessia, nice to see you. Yeah, I don't know why, because usually when I stream on, what's it, Hello Talk, my camera doesn't work on the default thing. I don't know, it's weird, whatever. But Michael, why leave? Oh, just because I hate the UK, it's so boring. There we go. I didn't wash my feet before sleeping. Michael, TMI, too much information. I'm joking, but yeah. There are a lot of live streams where English native speakers speak with each other, but we would like to interview your friend about you. Oh no, interesting. So there you go, Alessia. If you have any, what was it? By the way, guys, Alessia, another great live streamer. If you have any recommendations for great, interesting, what is it, English native podcast live streams, then please do let us know. How old are you? How old do you think I am? Farhad. Jenny, I'll be excited because I like Harry Potter. Yeah, it was really nice. I took it for granted. Like, when I was in school, I thought, yeah, it's just school, whatever. You know, the honeymoon period, there was a honeymoon period. And putting on my coloured tie and going to my house, you know, separate from the other students, it was cool. And some of my favourite moments were the inter-house competitions, especially the music one. I have a very embarrassing photo that maybe I will show you guys of me putting on some interesting makeup for the music competition, but I'll show you if I'm brave enough next week. But anyway. And then, what was it? Your spoken English is great. I hope so. I'm a native, so if my English were not very good, I couldn't be a teacher. What is the code? What do you mean, what is the code, Jenny? Code? What code? What was it? Oh, a new guest. Gashira-chan. Hello from Osaka. Nice to see you. You've unfortunately missed most of the live stream, but you can watch the recording later. Yeah, British weddings. I'm very glad you were able to join, Maya. Thank you. Okay. So, are there any final questions before we finish for today? So next week, Friday and Saturday, there will be another live stream. This week, no more live streams because I have some other friends coming this weekend. So, okay. Do we have any final questions before I leave? If you want to keep up to date with the announcements, my language advice that I post on social media, then you can find me here, or you can just follow me on Hello Talk. Okay, but mitai. There we go. She wants to see it. No, thank you, Mio. It was nice to see you again, and I'm glad most of you enjoyed it. But yeah, to bring together the page. Oh, you mean the are you talking about the announcements, the Microsoft Teams page? Is that what you're talking about? I will link this. Is that what you're talking about, Jenny? I'm not sure. Yeah, okay, great. So you're very welcome. All right. But I think that's enough for today. Thank you guys for the gifts. I really do appreciate it. Can someone teach me what these gifts do? Because I still don't actually understand. Sorry, wrong one. I know some people can exchange them for coins, but I don't understand it. I'm too old for this. But yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I don't know what to do with them, so if you are not spending money, great. If you are, please keep your money. And I am right now accepting new students, so maybe if you want to take a lesson with me, you can find me on my Eric English website. Okay, I've already had a few lessons with some of the people from Hello Talk, from YouTube, and I have to say, the people I've talked to, it's a common trend, but they often say when they message me, oh, I'm not very good, but I would really like to talk to you. And then when I talk to them, their level is crazy. Like, they know all these idioms, their pronunciation is wonderful. So I really do want to, encourage you guys. If you want to take a lesson with me right now, I'm accepting new students, and you can have a free lesson with me. No money for the first lesson. Just send me a message, but you have to be somebody I've talked to before. If you've commented before, if I know your, name, then please do message me and we'll have a chat. I will organize some time in my schedule and we can have a chat, and I'll give you some English feedback, okay? But if you're a new viewer and I've never seen you in my life, then I can take you, for a lesson, but maybe in the future after I've, talked to my regular live stream audience, okay? Maya says, I really look forward to meeting you in Japan. Yeah, that would be really cool. If I could have like an offline meetup event in Japan, so of course only if you're from Japan, unfortunately, but if I go to China one day, maybe we can do something. But I would love to meet you guys in real life, so I will also put the announcements, okay? But there we go. And then I see, what was it? Sorry. Alessia says, I can show you how to withdraw them. Ah, you're talking about the points. What was it? I'm sure, Alessia, you must get so many gifts. Like, like so many, what was it? A very popular live streamer. So, what was it? I like Alessia's very, energy. And she's a very good teacher. She's a great teacher. Very patient, very kind. Hannah, you're so funny. A lot of people say this. I think it's because my face is quite funny. Like, I'm kind of glad that I'm not very handsome, because handsome people, they're nice to look at. Not just to look at, that's bad. But like people who have a weird face or like not such a handsome face, when they do like facial expressions, it's a bit more interesting to look at, right? Of course, I don't think I'm ugly, but I don't think I'm handsome either. If I had to give my face a score from 1 to 10, I would say 5. Average. Slap bang in the middle. Average. And I'm happy with that. Well, I'm not going to get plastic surgery and change my face. But maybe if I wear better clothes or like, you know, do a bit of fashion, do a bit of a hairdressing or something like that, maybe I can increase to a 6. But what was I talking about? My mind has gone blank. Ah, I need food. My brain has no energy to think. But yeah, thank you, Alessia. That would be nice to withdraw them, I guess. I don't really know what that means, but thank you. Thank you, teacher. And then don't miss your opportunity, guys. Yeah, don't miss your opportunity to what was it? I don't know. Go forward and take a... Ah, you're talking about the lessons. Yes, that's right. Yeah. I talked to Alessia. You know, she was very proactive, and what was it? She took the chance to, you know, have a lesson with me. I'm a bit embarrassed because I didn't have as many notes as usual. Normally, when I speak to people, I have like 2 or 3 pages of notes, like corrections, different words and things like that. But Alessia is very good, so I didn't have so many notes, not so many corrections. So depending on your level, you may have more or less notes, but I'll do my best to give you a good lesson. So send me a direct message on Instagram, Hello Talk, or whatever, and I'm looking forward to meeting some of you guys. Okay? All right. Hannah, of course you're handsome. Well, thank you very much. It's called charisma. I'd like to say I have charisma, but I just don't know. I don't know. Alessia's, jeez. Why is she saying jeez? Is it like, Eric, you don't know anything? Or like, Eric, you don't remember anything? But anyway, okay, so I think we will end it there. It's about 2.5 hours. You can see it's about, what, 2:30? No, it's almost 3. Oh, I need to have lunch. Okay, right. I'm going to go there. But thank you very much, guys. Please follow if you want updates on next week's live stream. There'll be one about school and one an interview with some other native speakers. So look forward to that. And then during the week, I will post maybe some language advice, some videos and things like that. So you can find me on YouTube as well, just over here. Okay? So I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much. Elnaz, Mio, Maya, Alessia, Hannah, Jeff, Jenny, and a lot of people. Let me quickly read them out. The names I recognize. Teacher Stephanie, I recognize that, yeah. Alice August, nice to see you. And then so many people. I'm sorry, I don't remember the rest. Well, I don't have time to remember and read everything, but I'm sure there are some more people, okay? So, have a wonderful evening, and I will see you. Where's that button? I will see you next time, okay? Have a wonderful evening, guys. Bye-bye. Have a nice weekend.